What's up, everybody? Today I'm just getting out here on this nice weather day trying to catch some fish. So I'm out here and I'm just casting around on a medium light rod. Got some braid to a floral leader. I'm just tossing around little tiny jigs, and I'm out here. I wasn't very, I wasn't out here very long, man. I was already hooked up. And I caught this fish, and it was a nice little fighter. I was able to get him in no problem. He doesn't stand a chance against what I got going on. And I got him in the kayak here, and it was a nice little pike. The cool thing about these pike, man, look at those colors on them. I mean, it's just super awesome. I have pike here in Michigan, and this isn't a very big one, but they have really good colors on them. They have nice big sharp teeth, and they are just a good fight. I caught him on a little hair jig, so that made it even more fun knowing that I caught it on something that small. But yeah, the pike, they can get massive. These pike can get huge, but this guy was just a little guy. You look at those little stripes on him, it's still a lot of fun. You really can't beat it. It's fun to catch anything at any time. So I gave him a nice little release, said, "See you later, buddy. I'll see you next time." So I went around over by some lily pads, and I decided I was gonna try out the slip bobber on my light setup, and I casted it out. Didn't take very long, and I was hooked up, and I was battling this guy. Me and him, we had a nice little battle. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, look at the clouds, man. I mean, I know it gets cloudy. People might not like that, but I think it's just beautiful seeing those layers of clouds out there, the different colors where it's about to rain. I just think it's a cool thing. But I hooked up with this nice little this is actually a pumpkin seed. It's not very bright in color, but it's got the pumpkin seed design on them. And this was actually a pretty decent sized one. So this is probably grandpa, that had been out there for a while. And I actually measured him. He measured in at 9 inches. So for Michigan, not quite a master angler of 10 inches for a pumpkin seed, but it was up there. It was a good pumpkin seed. I mean, look at how big that thing is compared to my hand. I got him in my hand. I'm a 6 foot tall dude. I got decent sized hands. So I'm like, what, this guy's gonna fry up pretty good. So I had to get him on that stringer. I knew I could fry him up later, and he would make a nice little meal. So but we get all types of different sunfish up here. Bluegill, pumpkin seed, green sunfish. Uh, we get shell crackers. We have all these different types of panfish up here, and they're all very good to eat, and they're fun to fight on a light tackle. For their size, they actually do put up quite the battle. So I was pumped to get this guy. I wanted to put him on the stringer. I was gonna bring him home later. I was gonna have a nice little bite to eat. So, it's always a good day when you're catching fish. It's an even better day when you're catching good fish that you can take home and eat. You really cannot beat it. So far, this has been a great start to my day. I caught a nice little pike. I caught a nice little meal for later. I'm just out here on this nice little rainy, cool Michigan day. And, I decided I'm going to switch back up to my medium light rig here, just tossing around. And I cast out, against the current, trying to find where these fish are at. And I'm reeling in slow. And I felt a little nibble there. So I was like, "Oh, okay, what do we got here?" I was able to hook up, and I get it in on this little hair jig, and it was actually a micro bass. Now, I don't know how many times, anyone out there has caught a bass of this size, but I mean, this is just a little baby bass. This guy was not born too long ago, but yeah, as you can see there, he's about the size of my three fingers, and he's eating a bait probably about the fourth of a size that he is. Those bass, they are just so funny. They really will eat anything. And he gave himself a release. He was like, "Yeah, I'm out, son." I had no problem letting him go that way. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was still fun. So I'm sitting at the edge of the lily pads, and then I noticed the current was going a certain way, and I knew there had to have been some sort of channel down there. And if you know anything about fishing, fish like to sit on those channels because it pushes bait fish around. So I posted up there and I kept casting in the channel, letting it sink, bringing it back slow, and I hooked up with something nice. So this guy was actually, on my medium light, he was giving me a little bit of a battle here. He wasn't coming home too easy. And it looks like I caught his dad. I caught that little bass's dad. I hooked up with him and I got him in the boat, and this is actually pretty decent sized bass biting this minnow off. As you can see, right there in his mouth, where he's got this like iron jaw. It was so hard to get this light wire hook out. I'm like, okay, how do I get this thing out without hurting this guy? So I was attempting to be a surgeon there. I'm a pretty decent size, decent experienced surgeon. So it took a second, but because I didn't want to hurt him. But that was a decent sized bass. Just for this little inland lake. I was pretty pumped by that. He was nice and fat. And I mean, you can see the belly on him. I was pumped. So then I switched to my medium light bait caster that I got this year, and I'm throwing around a little itty bitty spinner. And I threw it out there and I instantly got hooked up and I was able to get this bass in. This is probably his big brother of that little guy. And I was able to get him in right away. This guy, bait caster, a lot of control, little itty bitty spinner with the little fry minnow on there. He didn't even stand a chance. I got him in, but I was able to get that hook out, not really without any issue. But these bass in here, they're just healthy, man. Look at that guy. That guy is a healthy bass. His mouth is pretty big, but his body fills it out. And it looks like he's got a little bit of a battle wound on the side. Maybe he got into it with a pike at some point or another. But this is a nice largemouth bass for this lake. So I decided I'm gonna keep that spinner out. And you can't help but notice those clouds, man. I just love the clouds. Look at how dark they get. It wasn't raining or anything, but it's just a beautiful sight. And it is a lot of fun. It's so refreshing and it's just healthy to be out there like that. I was pumped. But yeah, I cast it out, right around that creek channel that was towards the end of it, and got another bass, man. I'm like, man, this has really turned out to be a fun day. I wasn't out for too long and I got another bass here. There's my daughter swimming around on her little kayak. This is a little family event. My kids love going out there and it's cool because I like being out there with them. They're not afraid of the water and that my oldest daughter, she loves to swim. So she enjoys going out there with mom and dad. So, but I had to have that picture, to make sure that it happened. I think every angler does that at some point. So I was pumped. It was fun. So I'm still tossing around this little hair jig on my medium light. I'm out here and I'm in a little bit deeper water now. I'm probably about 10 foot of water, where it's kind of the end of the channel and it's calm. So I'm thinking, okay, all these bait fish are going to be pushed down here. They're done fighting the current, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to cast around here and see what I can get. So I was casting around and I got hooked up with this nice little fighter here. And I was able to get him to the boat. I actually switched to as you could see, a white head jig with a pink hair on there. So a pink hair jig. The pink seems to work really good. The chartreuse seems to work really good. Those are my two favorite colors when it comes to hair jigs. They just straight up catch those fish. But yeah, these fish all in the top of the mouth. This is another decent bass. He's got good colors on him, nice and healthy. That's a good bass. That's not a good bass. And of course, you got to get the photo. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he looked like he had some damage on him too. I was like, man, just like your brother down there. I don't know if there was a turtle or a pike or something in there, but these fish were healthy, but they just all had that damage on there. But sometimes you go to lakes and you see that kind of stuff. It just kind of happens. So I'm still in the same general area. There's a lot of thick weeds in here, but they're patched up. It's not all over. So I'm trying to fish those edges and in betweens, so where those fish might be hauled up in them, I'm fishing on the in betweens and on this hair jig, I actually caught a pretty decent sized crappie. I was pretty pumped about that. Got him right in the side of the mouth. This is a decent little crappie guy. A little black crappie. He's got some good colors on him. He was nice and fat. I'm like, man, this guy's gonna fry up good too. So I had to. My daughter saw me get a catch. She had to come over and see what was going on. I just they just love going out there. But yeah, he had to get the photo too, and just a little keepsake there. But oh man, the reel fell in the water. I didn't even notice that. That's a bummer. But I'm like, okay, at this point I had my little bag, that little thump net, that keeps the fish really good. I'd switched that because I'd caught so many. I was like, okay, you're going in there, buddy. So, we're still down here hanging out, we're out here as a family, still fishing, I got dinner ready, all that good stuff, and I'm just casting around still. Just straight casting, right, and I just let it sink. It started to sprinkle a little bit, but I was still trying to catch some stuff, still trying to have a good time. So, I'm still out here and I'm reeling slow, just enjoying the weather. Felt a little nibble, so I kind of slowed down a little bit, let it get it, let it chase it, and bam, got hooked up. So I was pretty pumped again. I get it back, and it's a nice little crappie. I was like, man, this is awesome. Another crappie. So I well had dinner. So it was a good day. I can't complain. It was awesome. Had a good time. So that's all you can really ask for when you're out enjoying yourself on the water. So, but if you stuck around this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. If you like this, go ahead and subscribe to me. And hey, you know what, guys? I'll see you next time. Later.